Hi, my name's Kevin with Hotshot Repair, and today I'm going to take a look at repairing the screen on an iPhone 7. We're going to begin by testing out the screen to see what areas of the screen are having problems, what areas of the screen work. Here we can see that the 3 is having trouble pressing, so we're going to go ahead and remove the screen. To do this, we use a pentalobe 2 screwdriver. There's 2 pentalobe screws in the bottom of the phone that we remove and set aside. After that, we use a metal spudger to get under the screen and lift the bottom of the screen up. What I'm using here is a tri-wing screwdriver, a tri-wing 000. There's 4 of these tri-wing screws holding the LCD connector cover on. It also covers the battery connector and the digitizer connector. You want to remove the tri-wing screws, keep them in order, keep them separated, and then set them aside with the cover. As we move up to the proximity sensor ear speaker connector cover, this phone had 2 Phillips screws. As we start to work on the screen, I typically start at the top of the screen with the ear speaker bracket. There's 5 screws, 6 screws here that hold the ear speaker bracket on, 5 for the bracket, and then 1 for kind of a metal antenna cover, a metal antenna connector. We just remove these, set these aside, keep them in order because they're all different sizes. What you want to watch out for on the home button, I typically use a pry tool to go over the little mounting post, lift the cable up over that mounting post, and then go under the cable and kind of slide the metal spudger down along the flex cable. I do that to try to avoid breaking it, damaging the flex cable. Now we're just kind of going in reverse order. We're putting in the home button into the new screen. Reconnecting it, reinstalling the bracket. The bracket has 4 tri-wing screws, tri-wing 000 screws that all go back in place. After that, I like to move up to the ear speaker, proximity sensor, front camera connector. Here I'm reinstalling the proximity sensor into its plastic holder on the back of the new screen. This can be a little bit of a finicky job. It's best just to use a pair of tweezers, get the front edge of it lined up, and then use the back end of the tweezers to kind of press it into place. So now we're getting the ear speaker contacts in place, putting the ear speaker back in, folding the front camera over and putting it in its holder, and reinstalling the bracket. Now with the screen reassembled, we plug in the ear speaker connector. You'll kind of hear me say ear speaker, proximity sensor, front camera. Those are all on the same flex cable, so they all go into the same connector. I just say ear speaker because people know what that is. We reinstall the LCD connector and the digitizer connector. Power on the phone so that we can give it a test and make sure it works. One of the initial tests that I do is that I'll seat the screen and kind of press on the home button as it boots up. The reason I do this is because if I get a taptic feedback from the home button, kind of while the Apple logo is showing, I get an early indication that the home button hasn't been damaged and everything's going to work out okay. I don't really see many failed screens as far as the aftermarket goes, so we give it a little test here to make sure that the 3 is working where it wasn't previously. Now the customer's approved of the repair. They've tested out the screen on a message, typing on the keyboard, swiping around on the screen. Just a quick initial test to make sure that everything works okay. And we open it back up, put on the ear speaker connector cover, reinstall the 2 screws that go into it. Now we reinstall the LCD connector cover, reinstall the 4 tri-wing screws, now keep in mind that all these screws, the 3 that come out of the edge nearest to you are the same size, but the one that goes in kind of on the far edge in that little peninsula is a different size. It's larger, so you want to make sure that you get the right screw in the right hole, or else you could cause problems on the logic board. Now with the screen seated, we're going to reinstall the 2 pentalobe screws. Give it a little test to make sure that it still works. Home button works. Swiping around on the screen works. And that's it. After it's all put together, we hand it back to the customer and make sure that they're happy with it before we send them on their way.